There wasn't any place except in that massacring area that I felt really endangered. But that place was very odd. And even little kids that walked up there were attentive. They didn't just go running and climbing like you would expect them to. It
Mm-hmm.
was interesting to watch. And given what I do, it was really fascinating.
One of a case that down yonder, down toward you guys, was when Frank was on the submarine, and I believe they were smelling cigar smoke.
Mm-hmm.
That just blew my mind. I mean, nobody smoked a cigar, but the place, they're smelling cigar smoke or coffee. I forget what it was. And I'm like, I'd have been up on the deck real quick.
Would you really?
No, I'd probably go back and stick my nose in every hole and cranny to see what's going on.
And try to find the person that was creating the
Yeah, try
odor.
to find the guy who's got the cigar, right? Or who's not sharing the coffee, one or the other.
Well, I'm going to tell you that if it was a coffee smell, Frank would have found him.
Oh, I'll bet.
So.
Yes, there's weird things that happen in the paranormal field that, nobody can explain. I mean, they come up with all kind of explanations, but when you try to put it all together, you're going like, that doesn't sound right, or that's not going to work.
Yes.
Now, one case here in Pennsylvania that I was involved in it a little bit, only because the guy's camera was broken. His good camera, so I went and did the photographing for him. And it was weird because we were standing at a Indian burial ground, basically, and it started to rain. I mean, it really poured, except for where we were standing. It was bone dry.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Not a drop. Because when it started raining, the first thing I did was get the cover out to cover up the camera. And I realized it's not raining. I'm looking out 10 feet and it's pouring. And I'm looking down at the ground. I'm standing on dry ground. There's nothing. I'm not wet. I'm not nothing. Now that's bizarre.
That is bizarre.
So there are things out there that, look, we're not going to ever understand or ever get the answer to. But you got to be ready to accept that, There he is, the ghost coffee.
I'm telling you, he went through that whole submarine. I know he did, looking for the coffee. That man loves his coffee.
I would probably be surprised if he didn't have a dozen donuts with him.
Well, you got to have something.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of things, and there's another thing. I keep up with some of the stuff that's going on around, like with you guys and Frank and a lot, where people will go out and they'll spend like 2 or 3 days at a site or overnight. And then I see the ones that are doing the most talking on sightings and stuff like that. They're there for an hour or two.
Yeah.
And then they go home. And then they talk about it for an hour and a half on a TV show or a blog or a podcast. But they were only there for 2 hours.
Not much well, in my experience, not much will happen in 2 hours. Sometimes, but certainly you can't walk away feeling that you've got the full experience.
No. When we go out, even the Star Watch, that's a whole night thing. We get there, It might be 5 o'clock, still daylight. It'll take us a couple hours to set everything up, and then we're there. We have dinner on the site. What we bring to eat, and then, our coffee through the night, whatever else we bring to munch on. And then when we're done in the morning, we pack up, we go to a diner and have breakfast. And it's usually 9, 10 o'clock in the morning. Mm-hmm. So, but you can't go out for an hour and, stare at one section of sky and go like, okay, we're done, let's go home. No, it doesn't work that way. And I would think the same way with a paranormal investigation, that if you were going to go into a place, no matter what it is, whether it's a house or like Frank with the batfish or whatever, you would want to go in there and stay as long as you could possibly, and try everything, to listen, to photograph, to hear, see if you can hear, smell, whatever. or even with these prisons that are in jails. I mean, we have a ton of those here in Pennsylvania that are they're abandoned. A lot of mental hospitals, a lot of prisons, a lot of towns. We have ghost towns all over the place. And it's just really neat when you can get in there and spend time. And, look, I can go for 5 days in that, 6 days. I can go for 6 days in that truck and I don't have to worry about anything. I got coffee, I got food, I got equipment, I got heating, I got cooling, I got everything I need. Tarps, camp covers, tents, everything. So I can just go out in the field and I'm there. I don't have to go anywhere or do anything. But when somebody says they went and they did, I was out there, we spent an hour in that house, I didn't hear nothing. Okay, whatever. Or they have an EMF detector, right?
Right.
And they have no idea, and they have no idea how to read it.
And and they're only watching like the K2 EMF.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the lights are pretty,
mm-hmm.
and I found if it's a young spirit, they love to light the lights up. But how are you going to know what that reading is? If you're
exactly,
it's just interesting to watch. And I investigate with some brilliant investigators. I work with two separate teams. One is Frank's and the other is Scare of Alabama. We've got really good people there. And I'll sit back if I go to public events and stuff or if I'm at out with a team that just, I'm out of town somewhere and they just let me go with them.
Mm-hmm.
Then it's like, well, there's that. Mm-hmm. Okay. But that's why I like to drive everywhere, so I have my equipment. And if I fly, I can't really take very much with me.
Well, there are a lot of strange things out there. And, when we're all gone, there's still going to be a lot of strange things out there. But, I always encourage people, before you go jumping into this, you want to read up, you want to talk to people. Investigators have been doing it for a long time. Get the good parts and the bad parts.
Oh, yeah.
Because, if they get all the good parts and they go out the very first time and they get stung or, it doesn't work out or it's just not the way that worked out the way they wanted it to work out and all disheartened and everything like that, and it's done.
Yeah. Just completely.
Yeah. But, like we have two vehicles. We have one here that's parked outside here, and there's one on the western part of the state. But the trucks have everything. They got cameras. They have satellite communications. We have our own radio system, good for 50-mile range. We have walkie-talkies. We have onboard computers. We have a cadaver kit. We have EMT equipment. We have oxygen. We have climbing gear. We have ladders. We have fingerprint. We have evidence gathering materials. We got FLIR devices. We have night vision devices, cameras, camera traps, surveillance cameras, infrared, FLIR. There's just so much equipment. I mean, from a shovel to a pocket knife. I mean, everything in between. But if I drive out, 5 hours to the other side of the state, and then I get back into the woods on an old fire trail or something, maybe 5 or 6 mile, and I just then remembered that I don't have the generator with me, I'm in trouble.
I could see that.
So we have a generator. We have we can charge everything up. We have tents. We have canopies. We have portable lighting. We have lighting traps. We have Frank would be familiar with these. We have the pop flare traps where we can wire up around the camp. Something walks through it, sets it off. We have those in electronics, and we have all old military. And it takes a lot. It takes a lot to go out and spend a week or more, because you got to have, you want to keep clean, so you got to have all that stuff, clean clothing and a way to wash up and everything else.
Right.
Unless you're staying at a motel, which we do every now and then, but after a while that gets old hat. But of course you got to pack everything up and go to the hotel and then go back and pack everything back in. That's crazy. But the truck has its own cell phone, its own cell phone number. All the computers are satellite connected. We have satellite phones in case we get in trouble. We have non-lethal weapons on the truck. So if we run into anything that don't like us or we don't like it, we can give it a face full of 68 caliber pepper gas and send it on its way. Same thing they use in zoos. So, because
is Pennsylvania not a what's the right word? Is it not gun friendly?
It is a gun. It's just it's a fires a CO2 cartridge, 68 caliber. It's the same thing they use at zoos. Like if an animal gets loose, they can hit it with pepper balls. They can hit it with a hard ball, scare it, send it off. Some of these places we go, you're not allowed to carry a firearm in there, but we all carry a knife. We have commercial made hog spears. We need them. A black bear is a black bear.
Yes.
But
yes.
They can do a lot of damage. But if I empty a clip in his face full of pepper gas, all he's going to do is run off into the woods like a maniac, and I ain't going to see him again. And then we have some balls that are it's like a glue. It's not a glue. It's a paste, and it's a very. It would be like drinking a glass full of vinegar and lemon juice.
Oh.
And if you have a coyote, say you have a coyote or a pack of quails or something in the area, it just, when you hit them, it sticks to them.
Right. And they lick it.
And they lick it. And then they lick it. Okay. And once they lick it, then they got a problem.
Oh, no doubt. Hang on, because we've got our last break coming up. And we're going to hit it, and we'll be back in 2.
You are listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting, the best in paranormal talk, only on Paranormal Experience Radio, broadcasting live out of Birmingham, Alabama.